People Network. This is OPN Live, and I am your host, Megan Bickel. Today's topic is Secrets to Startup Success, How to Master the Startup Game. I'm joined by two serial entrepreneurs, Jeffrey Potvin, CEO of Hardboot Communications, Inc. Welcome. Sitting here in Toronto with me. And on the other side, we have Rudy Caligari, who is the founder of 5 well-established companies in the technology, logistics, transportation, marketing, and advertising industry. Welcome, Rudy.
Hi, thanks.
Rudy, that's amazing.
I did that.
So before I let these two jump in, because they know each other so well, and I probably won't even need to moderate this whatsoever, I should mention that we are live streaming, and you can find this link at opn.ninja. That's www.opn.ninja. And we're also conversing online, live on Twitter, with our Twitter chat, which you can find at @OPeopleNetwork and the hashtag OPNLive. So let's get into it, guys. Let's talk about those secrets to success. I think I'm going to go straight for the big question is, you guys cumulatively have, looks like 40 years of startup experience, building businesses, buying businesses, selling businesses, the whole gamut. Is there even a recipe to the success, or is it to each his own?
You're going to go first? He's got more experience than me, so he's got to go first.
I think when she was saying
Come on,
40 years
Pops.
of experience, I just assumed she was talking about
It was all me.
being,
Yeah.
being the elderly here. But I don't know. I think I guess I'll jump in, but I think that from being a kid all the way to I guess the bright age that I am now, I would think that it's kind of to each its own. I think you have to deem what success is to you, but I think it's also the fact that in an entrepreneurial world, you have an entrepreneurial brain that wants to build something again and keep doing that, and it's almost repetitive, except for they're not always in the same field. I think as we are both, Rudy, we both look at things a little bit differently. So you start to look at opportunities, and it's just hard not to jump on the opportunity. So I think it really is dependent on the entrepreneur. Some people say focus on one thing and be great at it, which I 100% agree with. You really do need that. But the other side of it is that if you can be great at one thing, you can start to staple in other products, other businesses, other things that will also be successful because you have the drive and you have the great people behind you. And it really does end up falling back on those great people that can then help push it forward.
Yeah.
Rudy, what do you think?
I agree with that. Yeah, there's definitely no secret. I think it's you have to work really, really hard and surround yourself with great people. And I think whether you're successful on your first try or your 10th try, it really doesn't make a difference because you're not going to stop. And that's what people who are career entrepreneurs, the other day somebody asked me, what am I going to do when I retire? I'm like, oh, I can't wait. I'm going to open up a coffee shop. And then they pointed out that that's still working. And I'm like, well, yeah, I guess so. I'm like, but a coffee shop would just be fun. So, my idea of retirement is to open up a business that, I just serve coffee. I don't know. It's like you're always going, you're always trying, and it's who you are. It's not what you do.
Totally is. Like,
yeah,
it's almost like people say I can't wait for retirement. I don't even know what that would mean. I feel like
it's opening a coffee shop.
Why retire? Keep doing it.
Exactly.
You guys talk about hard work, and all these wonderful things. But I want to know, is it just hard work, or like what element of luck came into play with this?
A lot. It's
like what?
I think luck is a big part of it, because you could be the most successful people I know, the most successful businessmen on the planet have failed. So that means there wouldn't be failure. There's always failure. I fail 10 times a day, at least. So having the right idea at the right time with the right environment for raising money, or the reverse side, selling your company, are all a big part of it. And sometimes you could go out to raise money and it happens in 5 seconds. Other times you go out and you're struggling forever. Sometimes people are banging on your door to buy your business. Other times you're praying that you could just dump that load of crap on someone else. And it's it. So yeah, luck is a part of it, but I think saying that, hard work and, again, surrounding yourself with really smart people who know the answers that you don't know is essential. So, I'm not even close to knowing how to do half of the things I go out to try to do, but I damn well know the people who do know those answers, and they're all my best friends.
Comes back to the whole team aspect, right? Like, as soon
Yeah.
as you have a great team supporting you and driving behind you, it
Yeah.
almost alleviates half the stress. And then from there, you can pretty much do anything and everything you need to. So
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of that. I think that if with that team behind you and everything moving in the right speed, it allows you to almost click it into another gear. And now it's just that much easier. You can drive faster. You don't have the pressure and stress that you may have when if you're a micromanager or you're trying to make things perfect. It's just run and gun, make sure you're moving forward, and always have the vision of where you're going to be and drive towards that.
Yeah.
And, you're right. Success comes from a lot of mystery spots, or it just happened. I would turn around the corner, I ran into this person, and all of a sudden I had an opportunity. I guess there's luck, there's all of that. But, and maybe you can fit it 50-50, but a lot of the time it's really just making sure that you hit the right mark at the right time. You're focused, you're driven, and your team's supporting and driving the same way. And, you're pulling the switch at the right time. And sometimes you go too far and that's where you fail, but those things are allowed. You're allowed to make mistakes and just figure out how to learn from your mistakes so you don't do it twice.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. Like, you both honed in on a really important piece, which is obviously the luck component, but the right people around you. And it sounds like hard work, the right team, the right people that are smarter than you, that will help you, will push you forward and be on that team with you. But we have to be honest, like, you guys have been doing this for a long time, and people usually pour their heart and souls into building businesses, and then they burn out, and the business fails. So I think the old age phrase, it's a race, it's a marathon, not a race, is important to note here. So I want to know, how do you create that longevity in yourselves as people, as human beings that need to create balance and have a work-life balance? Is that even possible with being an entrepreneur at your level? Tell me more a little bit about that and how you take care of yourselves personally.
Yeah, balance is absolutely the key. So as much as the two of us love to work, you have to have whatever that word balanced lifestyle means to you. You've got to own that. For me, I have my kids, so I spend a lot of time with them, and I love to cook. I love to bike ride. I love to go for long walks on the beach. That sounds like where am I going with this crap?
Like a romance
But
novel.
yeah, oh yeah, long
Maria,
walks
can't
on the
wait to come back
beach.
to Toronto. Here, you and I could do a couple walks.
Yeah, exactly. Stroll along. But it's you definitely burn out. You definitely burn out. I love to travel a lot. You've got to find that spot where you find creativity, where you find some time to be able to think about, what the right decisions are that you need to make. And everyone has that place to go, yoga, or I don't know, whatever it might be. There's no right or wrong. There's no, but I know I don't sleep much like a lot of other entrepreneurs I know, but the hours I do sleep, if they're not solid hours, right? If they're not really good resting if I only sleep 5 hours a night, but it's rocky, it's bad. And I could kind of just like go back and say, okay, what have I been doing lately? And I'm not living a balanced life, and that's why it's happening. And then it spirals, right? When you feel good about yourself, everyone looks at you and sees what they're capable of doing. Because at the end of the day, being an owner or a CEO or whatever titles that we have, presidents of companies, your team and your staff is looking at you for guidance, and you have to have your shit together. So it's really important to find that's probably, if there's one thing that everyone needs, right? I'm dyslexic. I can't spell. No worries. I can fix that by hiring people who do, but I may not be the best mathematician. No problem, but what you can't hire someone to do is give yourself a balanced life.
Right on. So how many hours of sleep are you getting a night, Rudy?
On a weekend, I'll get like 7. That's like crazy. During the week, probably 5, 4. Wow. Under 4 is bad. More than 7 is a headache. I wake up and I'm like, I feel like I'm hungover. It's crazy. But that's just yeah.
It's hard to shut the brain down.
Exactly.
As a kid, I had to go to burnout, so I used to have to play a lot of sports, do a lot of writing to get things out of my head so I could sleep. But I vary around the same that you do. I maybe don't get 7 hours on the weekend, but there is a point where I will break and just sleep for 7 hours. And you're right, you do feel weird. You wake up and you're kind of groggy. But I learned this really cool technique a long time ago when I would travel and backpack, which I still do now. And I can fall asleep standing up, holding my, leaning against the wall. And it could be 30 seconds of the best sleep I've ever had. And it happens even when I'm in a regular day like this. I'll be on the train and all of a sudden, boom, out 5 seconds later, I'm up and I feel like $1 million.
Yeah.
But, and you rejuvenate that way, but you've
been sleeping while we've been doing the show.
Yeah, you don't even notice. I zoned out with my eyes open, passed out. It worked out pretty good.
Teach us your way.
It's meditation style.
Yeah. Exactly. I saw that you're asleep in your profile picture.
Exactly. Totally. They're like, snap this photo.
Yeah. Okay. But again,
I agree. Like over time, there's a lot of places you need to find yourself to rejuvenate and stuff. But I think the key to, or at least I found for myself, that my creativity and to be able to rejuvenate myself actually came from being able to implement cool ideas. It gave me a drive. So I don't drink caffeine. I don't do anything like that. But so in order for me to be invigorated to keep going, I had to find things like giving back, or like I coach soccer, or I mentor with kids, or working on a new business plan or product. I had to find teaching in class, entrepreneur classes. I had to find things that invigorated me in a form of giving back, that challenged me outside of what I was doing. And that allowed me to have more challenge inside of what I was doing. So it's almost saying, how do I step out of what I'm doing, look back in and say, wait, we could fix and change these things. And it's never perfect, but at least it gives you a drive to move forward.
Yeah, but I want to know, I don't think that comes easily. I think to some people it comes easily, but I think to a lot of driven entrepreneurs, they want to get out the gate and they want to do it good. So when in your careers, entrepreneurial wise, when did you realize that? Like, when did you actually say, okay, no, I need to do this community give back. I need to get some sleep. I need to travel. Did you burn out at some point to keep going? Did you have to have that kind of aha moment where you're like, oh my gosh, I need to take care of me? Or this thing?
Yeah, I didn't realize what balance was till I got into my 40s. It was my early 40s. I started my first serious company in my mid 20s. And then for like 15 years, I just went, balls out crazy trying to make it all work. And I didn't realize like how the mistakes I was making. I thought, well, if you work 20 hours a day, that's 10 10 hours more than most people, so I've got an advantage. But it doesn't work that way, and it took me a really long time. Like most entrepreneurs don't have a mentor. We kind of figured it out along the way, and now I think today it's easier. They have you could get a bachelor's degree in entrepreneurship. That's wild. That's wild. It's great. It's great because there should be a place for young, the next generations to come in and learn it more. And I think that's wonderful. I know myself, I didn't realize I was an entrepreneur, like, I don't know, until like a few years ago when the press kept calling me an entrepreneur. And I'm like, really? I thought I was just a guy who likes to start businesses. So it took me a hell of a long time. I think everybody's different that way.
It's funny,
Smarter
I was sharing
people.
that same story with Megan.
Yeah.
When I started, I didn't feel like I actually was an entrepreneur. And even though I had built a company, teams, doing all this stuff, and I wouldn't even fess up to it until probably like year 4 or 5. I was like, fine, I'll call myself the CEO.
Yeah.
But still managing director. And I'm open
Yeah.
to give that job title to anybody, really, as long as
Yeah.
they can do the job and take care of it and make it happen.
Yeah.
It really comes down to knowing what you're good at and what drives you. And I think all my life I always wanted to be a CEO. And then as soon as I felt like I was going to be one, I was like, I want to be the cook now. I want to be everything else. And then
Yeah.
you started thinking there's got to be someone way better than me out there that can run this, which is true. And there is. Everybody is amazing.
Yeah.
And it comes back to finding the right person and the right people. And all of a sudden, boom, you have something that can be shifted over and they take care of it. And you can hopefully work on the next thing. And that comes in time too. But when it happens, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So when all else fails, tell me, and you might need a second, or it might just come to you because it's so natural. Is when all else fails, what is that one thing that you needed and you advise other aspiring entrepreneurs, or there are entrepreneurs anyways, but successful entrepreneurs to hang on to and to remind themselves of daily, perhaps, to kind of survive in this entrepreneurial world?
Don't piss your money away.
No
Don't piss your money away. Be it your own or your investors. Don't piss away the money that you either have yourself or that investors give you.
Okay.
That's one. Definitely finding that.
Did you do that, Rudy? Did you piss away some money?
I always work really, really hard to make sure I don't, because when you're building a company, you're spending much faster than you're earning, and that's a very normal thing growing a company. So sometimes it's easy to raise money, sometimes it's difficult, and it's the same thing with your own personal money. Everybody always thinks that they're going to make a hell of a lot more money than they typically do. So it's always, it's always smart to really keep a handle on that. And I think also if you're really smart about your own money, you treat your business the same way, and you don't piss away your money. And that's something I think a lot of younger entrepreneurs or younger business people think, that they always think that, oh, in a year from now we're going to be making 20 million bucks a year, and then a year comes and they're still in they're still in the red, they're not in the black, and they're like, okay. Now I've got what happened? Okay, now I've got to stop paying myself a salary, because that's the first thing to go, right? So you stop getting paid and your company's not making money, and it could be very successful and doing well. So the more that you don't waste, the better off you are. And that's probably like,
I
Yeah,
think
what do you think?
the other thing too, I think you jump in on is figuring out really how you operate, like what makes you tick. Money is obviously the biggest component of it, and I learned this one thing, that if um, you probably would have less stress if you always knew there was a bucket of money there. But when it's not, you're always driving and trying to make sure that you have that 3 months, 6 months ground to live. But I think one of the things was learning how you operate, and when I kind of figured that out on my own, and it was pretty helpful in a sense of, it, if you have an exam at school or you have a paper due, do you do it the night before, 3 days before, or do you do it the 2 months before you have it due because you have all that time? So for me, it was, I'm a kind of a planner at the beginning, then in the middle, I'll do some work, but I really go for the glory at the end of it all. And I know that that's how I operate. So in the same thing has to work in the company. You have to be able to work with what makes you tick. So if everything is driving up to the finish line, then you got to follow through with that all the time. That is how you work. That's how you operate. If you try to change that, it just screws everything up. And then it's a shit show. So just be who you are and push forward with that. So if you're a bottom line guy and the bottom line happens every night and this is how you're going to hit it, then go after that bottom line. And it's going to allow you to have energy.
One takeaway is like the one thing when all else fails.
Yeah, know who you are, because that's what's going to get you out of the trenches when the shit show happens. And that's going to get you further ahead when you need to get ahead and be stockpiling money for the next rainy days. So
Yeah.
it really does come down to understanding who you are and how you work.
So know who you are, so that you know who you are, so that you don't piss away your money or your.
Yeah. Because no matter any company I've ever had, whether we were, well into earning money or not, you never have enough, to run the company, to grow the company. Because when you're successful and you're doing well, there's always opportunity to grow. And then you look at your balance sheet and you say, oh, we don't have enough money to grow the way we can. That's always the case. And then obviously when you're a growing company, as I mentioned, you're always spending more than you're bringing in. So you just have to be very careful.
Yeah.
For sure. And have somebody behind you always smacking you, because I think that
Yeah.
helps too.
Like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I want to do that.
It works.
Yeah.
Honestly, it does. It helps.
I know a couple of people that do that for Jeffrey. So
Mm.
good.
I think everybody does. It's great. It's a stopgap. It really helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so we're about at the end of our time together, which is amazing. And I know we could keep going, and there's so many different areas we can deep dive into. But for today, we'll kind of shut it down. But Rudy, since you're down in New York today, I think I want to ask you a question about politics. You said no politics, but we can't help it.
Oh, go ahead. Let it rip.
What do you think?
We're going to talk about the Fuhrer.
Yeah, please give us give us the Rudy's Coles notes on the new president.
Here is my take on the new president. Regardless of where you stand and who you may have voted for or not voted for, what the world doesn't need right now is for a turnover in the American government. So as bad as many people believe he is, if he fails, we'll be in a real shit show that the whole world's going to have a difficult time recovering from. So wish him luck, even if you may, wish his, motorcade goes off the road.
So what you're saying is what's bad could get worse.
Well, yeah, exactly. People, a lot of people wish he gets impeached. And you know what? They probably have a million great reasons that he could be or should be. He says a lot of crazy things that get a lot of people extremely worried and nervous. But he has an opportunity right now to make a change for the better. Like every president who comes in, they have a big opportunity, and it's up to them to screw it up. So if he screws it up, we all suffer. And
like
I kind
of get a rally behind somebody at some point, right? It's like the president changes at IBM.
Yeah.
Everybody in the company can leave, or they can figure out how to work with them and support them and drive them further ahead. So I think because media is so big right now, everybody's terrible, terrible. Get him out of here.
Oh, they can't wait to rip him, and you know, it was crazy. My wife is from Prague. She became an American in between the last two elections, and she was really excited about voting. And you know, during the course of the primaries, I was pointing at Donald Trump, and I said, you know, this country could get really crazy, but I doubt it'll get crazy enough to elect a guy like him. And wow, I was wrong. You know, and it's a crazy spot. And you know, I didn't vote for him. I didn't want him to be president, but I sure hope right now he makes the right decisions and is smart enough to get people to behind him to rally, right? I mean, he's our CEO right now.
Yep.
So we don't want him to put our company out of business. And I always look at it, it's not a country, it's a company. And this is the world's biggest company right now that employs, you know, some of the biggest other companies in the world, right? Meaning other countries. The US dollar is still the world's leader, for better or worse.
Crushing our dollar, man. What's up with that?
Yeah, exactly. What's going on with the Canadian dollar?
Oh,
So,
he's
you're-
just
you're-
on fire though. He's making it stronger. But either way, you're
Yeah.
right.
So-
he is the
so-
CEO, man.
yeah, and if he fails, it hurts all of us. And you know, again, I don't agree with a lot of what he's doing, but you know, quite honestly, if Hillary became president, I wouldn't have agreed with a lot of the things that she does. And I didn't vote. I did not vote for her. I didn't vote for either of them because typically I vote for a change. I think the biggest problem with the American government is that we only have two primary parties, and it's the left or right, or the right or wrong, or the holier than thou, or the, you know, the atheist, right? And I believe that we need more parties. So I tend to vote for the underdog, to maybe one day there will be 3 or 4 eligible parties that would make a change, and then people, you know, people could vote for the team that they think is best for them.
I think
Because
that's very entrepreneur of you to do the whole change aspect, because I think there's one thing that's true to entrepreneurs is you can't be scared of change, and so for you to kind of vote that way says something about your character too. So.
yeah,
I think everybody's going to vote for Oprah next, anyways. So I think that's that's the new president. So I guess you guys got 3 years to see
you
where
know,
she can come in, right?
Or I don't know, 2020. Let's see.
you know, I think Elon Musk wasn't born in America, but I love what he's doing with his companies. Is someone that I admire. And if we're going to head down the way of, you know, maybe the out of everything that goes wrong, right? There's always you know, the bright side, right? There's always something that changes. And if, you know, Donald Trump is the, you know, what went wrong, well, maybe we'll get a new breed of politicians that can make the world a better place. You know, providing that they believe in global change. I mean, I have flowers growing in my garden in February. Now it's March and we got a foot of snow today. But, you know, there's a lot of politicians that don't think that global change is happening. Yeah, sure. Because you're going to make money voting that way. I mean, come on.
Well, thank you so much, Rudy. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah,
so many
no
wonderful
problem.
insights. You've taken us kind of through a little bit of a snapshot. I think next time we can maybe plan to deep dive a little bit further. If
Sure.
you came to chat with us too again. And,
Great.
yeah, and thank you, Jeffrey.
I get to come on the show.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
as the first time hosting OPN Live, I just want to thank our audience for tuning in. And please, if you like this show and you want to find out more about business and entrepreneurialism and startups and a diverse array of topics here, hot topics all the time, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. And this is OPN Live. You can find more videos at opn.ninja. My name is Megan Bickel, and I say goodnight. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Rudy. You're the best.
All right. Be well.
Kisses from Toronto.
Ah!
So I guess